Welcome back to Heritage Cooking, where it's more than a recipe. I am joined by my beautiful mother, Deb. We continue to hunt for a catchphrase, a sign on, a sign off. We haven't hit on it yet, so keep giving us the feedback. We need something here.
Absolutely.
So hey, it is summertime. We're just past the 4th of July, so we wanted to do a recipe. Um, That's just like cookout food, something you would go to a barbecue right around the 4th and have a good chance of seeing. Something that has a little bit of American flair to it, perhaps. Something you can make on a grill or a barbecue. So I know that we have some very different dishes,
Yep.
and then I also had an aborted dish that we'll talk talk about briefly. We won't spend too much time on it, but
Thought I was struggling this month, and then you told me about your experience. I'm like, okay, I'm doing okay.
yeah, it was a lot. There's a lot of things conspiring against one of my dishes, so we'll get into that. But right off the top, barbecuing, grilling, not necessarily barbecuing. They're interchangeable terms in some part of the country, and other parts you can get shot for saying that.
Right?
Uh, but grilling, relatively new, right around the end of World War II. Everything I found really kind of points toward the Ford family. Of course, finding a way to make the most money possible. And I guess he started his charcoal company by burning all the crates that the car parts came in, and then was
Perfect.
selling that. So genius of a man. He made himself a lot of money. Sold that company to a family member. That's now Kingsford Charcoal. So now one of the biggest names still today. So great job there.
Right. Exactly.
But what really did it was the grill. The grill that when you close your eyes and picture, you can see the Weber, the egg.
Yes.
And what I didn't know is that it was made out of a harbor buoy. Um, looking,
Really?
yeah, he owned a metals works. He's from Chicago. Owned and worked at a metalworks, and they made harbor buoys for the city.
Okay.
And so that's what the grill was made of, was a harbor buoy that he cut in half. And so that was news to me.
Oh, that's cool.
But from a technological standpoint, what made it different was that it had the cover. So instead of just cooking on an open grate like you've probably seen at your state park or something like that, it had a
Uh-huh.
cover so you could control the temperature, the environment, and the wind. And they sold like hotcakes, enough for him to buy out the other half of Weber, and now Weber grills are kind of the thing.
Hmm. There used to be Weber restaurants. Are they still around?
So yeah, they are. The original is closed, but all the other ones they've opened are still open. And the restaurants are like the only thing still owned by the family of the guy that made the grill.
Okay.
It was the other last name. They're not the Webers. It's whoever the other, Stevenson or something. And
I went to junior high with a girl whose uncle was the guy.
there you go. So they own the restaurant still,
Yeah.
and somebody bought out the rest of it and licensed it out.
Okay.
So I found some really cool old timey like grill ads and stuff while I was searching. I was looking
Huh.
for like a little bit of a deeper history, but I really just found like those like pre-war, mid-war, really campy, do your part
Mm-hmm.
kind of ads.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but a lot of them were focused on grilling.
It's curious the timeline there because I'm thinking about like hibachis and grilling in Asian cuisine, and I wonder how much of the World War II was influencing this idea of cooking over a flame kind of thing.
But the American way.
Right, the American way. Well, it's interesting now because I think of when I think of cookouts and all of that, to me it's the social event, right? It's why do people gather like that? And back in the day, there were harvest festivals and there were those kinds of things where people would get together. And I think about the communal living organizations like the Hutterites or the Mennonites or the Amish, and they would gather, together to raise a barn or to build a building or to do the harvest or whatever and share a meal. But all those meals, were prepared in mass, but often outside over an open fire. And then, of course, where I live here in the West, that's just kind of how we do things. It's still a wild west out here. We just cook over an open flame because that's what we do.
It tastes better that way.
It does. We have a Weber grill, but it's fired. It's started by gas, but we use the charcoal to actually do the grilling. So that's what we prefer. We have a gas grill over at our guest cabin, but Dad doesn't like that one. So anyway.
One thing I've always wanted to try, and the name will escape me, but you flay a lamb and lean it over a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And let the grease drippings fuel the fire. And
yeah.
I've always been fascinated by that. I really would like to try that.
Yeah. I've been researching for when you're here, when you're visiting, whether or not we could do some kind of a pit roast with goat or lamb. And it would probably be goat, and we probably couldn't do it because the fire hazard here is so high. But yeah, I've always wanted to do that too, is to just, you get all the coals together, you get the rocks hot, and then you put it in and bury it.
Yeah.
And you leave it for 8 hours or 12 hours or whatever it takes. Slow cooking. It's like the slow cooker of the Wild West. The other thing that I always think about with cookouts, because, I was thinking about it, and as a kid growing up, that's not something we ever did. We just, we didn't do it. We lived in apartments, and we didn't do those kinds of things, and we didn't have like big family gatherings. However, my mom and stepfather had a boat that they kept at Chain Lakes Marina in Fox Lake in Illinois. And it was more like a camping community there. Everybody docked their boats, rarely went out because they had these massive cabin cruisers, and it's a 6-inch draw on the chain, so they couldn't really do much in their boats. And so they would just have these massive parties, and that's kind of what I was basing my choices for food and stuff, because that's my mom's outdoor grilling cookout kind of experiences that I remember. So that's actually how I did the watermelon. Let me just jump right in there with that. So my mom never did anything without it being entertainment value, in terms of food. The appetizers all had to be really pretty and cut out special, and same with the watermelon. Like, she would serve watermelon, but it wasn't just slices. I never ate a slice of watermelon as a kid, ever. I don't even remember. When you guys were children, I would cut it up even, because it never occurred to me to serve someone a slice of watermelon where you hold the rind and, eat it. It never occurred to me. So anyway, she always made things really special. And like the watermelon baskets are one of those things. You couldn't just, you had to make it look really special. And so that's why I added the watermelon to my group of foods this time, because it reminds me of my mom. And I don't know where she got that, because she was a server. She was a waitress for 50 years. She didn't like food. She hated food. She was as thin as a rail. I wish I'd gotten that. But my grandmother, my father's mother, was a caterer, and I think she taught my mom a lot of stuff like that. And in the 50s, that things were done that way. They were done really special at cocktail parties and that kind of thing. So I'm guessing that's where she got it. But I inherited that big time. And I think you did too. Your presentations are always really nice. So it's more than the food.
Yeah, it's got to look good. And Instagram eats first. So.
Well, that would bring it into the new culture. Absolutely.
So, yeah, we grilled. We grilled a variety of things. I guess I can tell you what I didn't grill, and that was my sweet corn, which is something I'm actually really good at. But man, had a devil of a time finding it. It's a little early, but I'm just blind, which happens to be the case. I completely missed it at one store, almost completely missed it at another. Had a whole other recipe that I was creating in my mind, so that I could bridge the gap between what I couldn't find and what I wanted to make. And of course, as soon as I had my cart loaded and everything figured out, I found the corn. So I bring the corn home and I put it on the counter because I wasn't going to make it that day. And I come home from work on Friday. I'm all ready. I'm fired up to get the grill going, get the corn going. I come around the corner and I'll put the picture up right now. My Labrador ate 4 entire corn cobs, husk, corn, cob, gone. If I didn't know that I had bought corn, I wouldn't have known what the debris was from.
That dog. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's
How is he
been
doing?
he's struggling, but I think I can just say I've gotten most of the corn back.
Oh, yikes.
So, in lieu of my corn, I was trying to come up with something that wasn't entirely made on the grill, but that was something that you might prepare and bring to a cookout and finish on the grill. So I ended up making a lobster mac and cheese. But to dress it up a little bit, I wanted to try something I hadn't done before. So this is a buffalo lobster mac and cheese.
Interesting.
So ton of cheese, and then buffalo sauce mixed into the cheese mix. Essentially, just boil the macaroni up and put it into a big aluminum serving tray. Make a cheese sauce, which whatever you have. I used the Velveeta sharp cheddar, which I didn't know was a thing. But I was gonna I was gonna shred my own sharp cheddar, so I figured that would be easier for me. So I mixed that all up with the buffalo sauce, with some Colby Jack, and then I went back to the well and I used a little bit of the Cheetos dust. Pour that over the top, another noodle layer, and then I cheated and I used imitation lobster, the cubed stuff. Layer of that, layer of Colby Jack over the top, and what I ended up doing was shoving it on the grill and just letting it kind of all finish on the grill. Threw some breadcrumbs on top,
Nice.
and just did it like a bake. Did it like a macaroni and cheese bake.
Oh, what a great idea.
So not entirely a cookout food, but definitely something I could see like bringing to a party and finishing on the grill so it's served warm.
Right.
And of course, I made way too much, but very good. Very, very good.
I bet just good cold, too.
Yeah, and the thing is what I've been doing is just a tiny bit of milk and a splash of buffalo sauce. And just kind of whisk it up again. It's good cold. It's good warm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to make it through the 5 pounds of macaroni that I made. But it was really good. It did not complement at all my other dish, which was traditional Wisconsin tailgate bratwurst. Definitely not a together dish, but if the goal was to like bring different things, maybe as a couple to a cookout, like different things to serve, hit nail on the head.
Exactly. Yeah, because cookouts, you've got kids, you've got adults, you've got all in between, and you're serving a potluck. So absolutely. Okay. And
the nice thing about the cubed lobster chunks is that they're really easy to take out. So if lobster isn't really your thing, because it's the imitation lobster and it's cubed, it didn't impart a lot of the flavor into the sauce or the noodles.
Okay.
So like you can get it all together. It tastes very, very good. But if you're not a lobster person or you just hate imitation lobster because of what it is, very easy to remove after the fact. And you just have like a really, really good baked macaroni.
Oh, that's a great idea. I wouldn't have thought of putting it on the grill like that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I wish I was there to help it.
Easy enough to make. It only took about 20 minutes to prep. So.
And how long did you have it on the grill?
Better part of an hour because I was zone cooking some other stuff, and I was like, my intention was not to bake the mac and cheese. My intention was to cook all the other stuff I had to cook, and like when I got done, I got done. So I cooked it because the noodles were already done. So I cooked it just until I got that crust I wanted on the top. So once that was good, that was
so
done.
you cooked it without the cover then, without a cover.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's so I was doing some chops and stuff, so it got a little bit of that meat flavor in there. Yeah.
I was gonna say the smoky effect would be really, really good.
And I think if I had like meant to do it like all this way and not had to like rethink this 3 times, I would have gotten some chips. I didn't have any smoker chips, and I probably would have smoked it.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice.
So.
Yum.
You want to talk about Go
Yeah,
ahead.
my side was kind of like that too. It wasn't really made on the grill, but it was intended to bring to like a potluck, outing or whatever. And it was German potato salad. And I thought I've kind of got a thing going here with the German dishes. I don't know what that's about. But the reason I thought of it was because our neighbor, back when you were a little one, made the best German potato salad I've ever had in my life. And she gave me her recipe, and I have never been able to make it as good as her. Now, Dad doesn't prefer German potato salad. He likes the American potato salad with the mayonnaise or Miracle Whip or whatever. Hey, are you a Miracle Whip or a mayonnaise person for potato salad?
For potato salad, it's mayonnaise.
It's real
It's
mayo. Okay.
mayo.
Okay.
I will use
Well, the
both.
reason I actually prefer American potato salad also when I'm thinking of cookout. To me, that's just that creamy and then the crunchy of the celery and all of that. But I was thinking, okay, well, sitting on a table in the sun, probably not the best idea. So I went with the German potato salad, but I couldn't find the recipe from my friend. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I didn't get the recipe in time, so I used another recipe. Basically, it's a warm salad with bacon and vinegar. That's just the thing. The vinegar is kind of a thing in the German cuisine. And so I made it. It turned out okay. It wasn't. The one thing I did different with it, though, I make rhubarb chutney. And so what I did was I used rhubarb chutney in place of some of the sugar and some of the vinegar in the dish. And it threw in there just a little bit of a different taste profile. I love my rhubarb chutney, but it didn't really work with the German potato salad. I mean, it didn't, it wasn't huge, but in my mind, the standard is my friend Nancy's German potato salad, and nothing has ever measured up. So I made it. It looks okay. It was good. Your dad ate it. But yeah, I probably wouldn't make, I probably will not make it again unless I get her recipe again, and then I'll maybe try and I'll fail and I'll feel awful about myself. But so anyway, that was kind of my side, because it can sit and it would be okay out in the sun or at a party. So that was my side.
That rooster real upset, huh?
Oh yeah. Sorry about that.
So let's
Gotta
jump
have a
to
rooster if you want to have babies.
let's jump to the drinks next because I like to enjoy a good drink while working the barbecue.
Yeah.
So you might have caught me a couple times. I'm actually drinking what I made, which is I guess it's my recipe. I kind of invented it. This is a little bit different though. This is my jalapeno lemonade.
Okay.
Ah, very good. Essentially, you gotta fresh squeeze the lemons. I've made it with concentrate, and I've made it with lemon juice, and it's just not the same. So
Yeah.
I squeezed a dozen lemons.
Do you have a
Got
lemon juicer?
I've got like I'll throw a picture up. It's like a
Yeah.
juicer that's in like a tray,
Yeah.
which I really like because it's easy to pick the seeds out because I use the pulp.
Right.
So I'll use the pulp for other things, including like bourbon drinks.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it's a jalapeno honey wine that we found.
Oh, wow.
So you can do like a jalapeno simple syrup to substitute,
Okay.
but this it's called Killer Bee, I think it's called. It's up on the screen, but I don't have it here in front of me. And it's a honey jalapeno wine.
Oh, sounds good.
So it's the fresh squeezed lemon juice, it's the honey jalapeno wine, and then normally what I'll do is either a bourbon or a vodka.
Okay.
I made this one with rum. I made this one with the Bacardi Citron, the lemon flavored
Oh,
Bacardi.
sure.
Dumped a bunch of cut jalapeno in it. Added sugar. In the recipe, I'll tell you how much sugar you should use, but I just put spoonfuls in there until it looks like it won't dissolve anymore. Making a big old mason jar,
Uh-huh.
shake the ever living hell out of it, and stick it in the
Yep.
fridge for 12 hours. Um, Take it out the next morning and kind of just scrape off the jalapenos and the pulp.
Okay.
It should be relatively clean at that point. Most of it floats up to the top. Um, and then pour it over ice. Garnish it with a little jalapeno, and
Oh,
good to go.
yum.
You can always add additional alcohol or sugar, depending on what time of the day it is and what you're trying to do. Um, so good. It smells like jalapeno.
Okay.
It enters your mouth like lemonade, and it's crisp like lemonade.
Dangerous.
And then it's got just a hint of that hot finish.
Okay.
So there's something else in there.
Ah,
But if you do it right, especially if you're using a flavored vodka or rum, you will never taste the alcohol because of the sugar and the jalapeno.
right. That's what I'm saying. It'd be
Yeah.
so dangerous. Wow.
So I mean, we're working through it.
It would be really bad if we lived close to each other because I swear to God, I would be eating at your house all the time. You'd be so sick of your mother. Wow. Okay, well, I made the like more genteel child version of the lemonade. And this is kind of a take on Haymaker's Punch, which in the old days when they'd be out working hay and stuff, it was hard work out in the sun and they needed something to replenish. And this is actually what I drink in the summertime for electrolyte replenishment because here, I don't know what it is about here. It's not hot, but I just, in the summertime, I feel like crap. I can't do the heat anymore. So anyway, this is ginger and lemon. And then I kind of muddle that with a little bit of hot water just to make sure it gets going, and honey. Now, you can make it with molasses, you can make it with maple syrup, you can make it with sugar. Yeah, to me, it's got to be the honey. I've tried the other versions, and the maple syrup is okay. It's just not the profile I like in this. So anyway, the honey. And then after you've got that honey dissolved, you add a little bit more water, and you set it in the fridge or just serve it over ice immediately. I use the peel of the lemon, but then I cut away the pith and put the rest of the pulp back in. The ginger, I don't peel or anything. I just throw it in there. And I do large pieces because I don't like ginger I don't like to get a chunk of ginger. Well, that's not exactly true either. But anyway, I do it in slices so that if you don't like it, you can strain it out. And then I'll fill up a half-gallon mason jar. And once that's gone, I'll fill it a second time to continue using what's in there, and add a little bit more honey, and then it's good to go. So it's a really refreshing drink, and it's not carbonated, so you don't have the issues.
There is a vodka. It's made by Jeremiah Weed. It's a sweet tea vodka.
Ah.
And I'm wondering if it wouldn't pair nicely with something like this.
Interesting. I actually have a sweet tea tequila. I might try that. I might,
Yeah.
because I don't like it on its own. I don't like it. So I still have the bottle. I've had it for a while. So maybe I'll try that and see. Yeah, I think any of the citrus-based liquors would go really nicely, with it, or even just vodka to, spice it up if you wanted to spice it up. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't mean to bring it back to alcohol, but when I think barbecue cookout, there's like kids around, and I have to be drinking something because I can't I can't deal with it.
See, and I'm thinking barbecue cookout. There's kids around, so you cater to the kids. Oh my gosh, son, I don't know about you.
You just need two different punch bowls. That's all.
Right. Right.
So
Much.
just tell it like it is. So my main dish was the Wisconsin style bratwurst, and hell if I didn't struggle with these two. These are my grill was fine. It was pouring rain. I'm trying to grill. Like I'm having temperature issues. I'm having heat issues, but we got it done. So I went to the butcher shop. I went to the butcher shop in town. Anytime I'm doing bratwurst, like for a reason, I try to buy nice bratwurst. I have nothing against pre-cooked Johnsonville stuff. I have nothing against the ones that Jewel puts in a little cardboard case. I'm good with all that. It all tastes good, especially if you're boiling it in beer and then burning it and throwing mustard on it doesn't really matter. But anytime it's like for a reason, I'll go and I'll get nice bratwurst. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
hey, wait a minute. Just before you go on, is the brat stop still over the border in Wisconsin, just in southern Wisconsin there?
I believe so.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so to me, that's the epitome of a brat. Like if you're gonna get a brat, that's the epitome. The way it's crunchy on the outside and greasy in the inside.
Yep.
So okay, go ahead. Tell me how you stack up to the brat stops.
Did not. My brats are usually pretty good. These were not in the upper tier. They look pretty though, which is what's important for video format. So what I'll do is I'll take the bratwurst. In this case, I had a couple beer brats, a couple jalapeno cheddar brats, and a buffalo meat brat.
Oh, interesting.
So anyway, I put them all in a container, cover them with your beer of choice. It should be some kind of ale or lager from Wisconsin.
Right.
I used High Life, Miller High Life,
Oh.
because that's what I like to drink while I'm cooking. That or Busch Light, and you can't put Busch Light in bratwurst.
God. That's bad. But that would be typical cookout kind of beer. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So you slice up a couple of yellow onions, about as fine as you want them to be. I usually will just chop them. Put the bratwurst, the raw bratwurst, the beer, the onions all in the container. Seal that up. Stick it in the fridge.
Okay.
Let that sit for 12 to 18 hours.
Okay.
Then you can do it on a pan on the stove, and it works great. But I wanted to really kind of buy into the grilling idea. So I thought I had a cast iron pot. I did not. So I went and got one. You dump the bratwurst, the onions, and the beer from the marinade container into your cast iron, and you boil it on the grill.
Okay.
So you zone it out. So you have the indirect heat under your cast iron, and you have your direct heat off the other side, so you can prepare other dishes. And you work your way up on to a boil. 20, 25 minutes or so. And then once it's good and boiled, you take the bratwurst directly from that onto the hot grill.
Oh, great idea.
You leave the heat under your cast iron to keep boiling those onions down, because we're going to use them. So you should, right, if you're from the Wisconsin area, those things should be pretty brown. Like you said, crunchy on the outside, juicy on the inside. But in theory, they're cooked to completion at that point. So if all you want to do is put the marks on there, you can just put some marks on. If you want to cook them till they split and lose some of that moisture, that's a different. The white brats and red brats, it's a Wisconsin thing. Maybe we can get into that at some point. But you should not let your casing split when you're boiling brats. Char them up to your liking. Take your buns, throw them down, get a little bit of toaster on that bun. And
you made me so hungry.
I had one for breakfast today.
I hate you.
And then your onions should be boiled pretty much all the way down at that point. So you're going to do mustard. You're going to do your onions, which will probably have a nice caramelization to them at that point. And then if you want, you could do ketchup if you want. But I use relish. So what I ended up using for these is actually the remainder of the chow chow from a couple episodes ago. With the onion, with the mustard. So good. Traditional bratwurst from Wisconsin, you're going to do sauerkraut. But I used the chow chow because I had it. And I really didn't want to make the sauerkraut. Right.
Well, it's the same family.
Yeah,
what kind of mustard?
I use just cheap yellow mustard. I like French's. You can do like a spicy Dijon. Or there's a who makes it? One of the big barbecue companies makes a horseradish mustard that's really, really good on brats.
Oh, that would be good. Oh, maybe I'll try that this year with my horseradish.
Oh,
I wonder if I can make a horseradish mustard, because we don't use horseradish, creamed horseradish very often. But I wonder if I could do a horseradish mustard. That would be good. Maybe with some brown mustard seed.
Yeah.
Yum. Okay.
I think you're onto something. Yeah.
Your brats look skinny. Is
so
that
the jalapeno ones, the one I sent you a picture of was one of the jalapeno cheddar ones. They were very long. So they weren't they weren't skinny compared to like a normal
Okay.
bratwurst. It was just really long.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
So the
Well,
rest of
I
them
suppose
were more normal
presentation
size.
wise, if they stick out over the bun, there's that's part of the presentation too, right?
Well, that's why I took a picture of that one.
Right.
All the other ones were a much normal size.
Okay.
Yeah, very
All
good.
right.
It went great with the lemonade. I ate it with the lobster mac, but again, I wouldn't necessarily recommend lobster mac and bratwurst together.
Right. Well, but it's a cookout. Everything goes.
What was your
So
main
I
dish?
made right. So I made marinated grilled shrimp, garlic shrimp. Now this is something that we used to take camping all the time. You probably don't remember, but we would marinate the shrimp and then cook it on the campfire open, so they got charred on the outside. And of course, it cooked so fast. So it was a good thing to take because we could prepare it in advance and it would sit in the marinade until we were ready. And then we would cook it and it cooked really fast. So that was kind of the idea behind what we did. Except we did it in the pouch form for this show. I would never do that again. What a mistake. It might be really good in some case, but again, for me, I have a memory of what something tastes like, and if it doesn't match it, it's a fail. See, Dad gets so mad at me because I will rate every meal I cook.
Jesus.
And I don't give it like A, B, C, D, E. It's either pass or fail. There's only two ways around it. And so he gets really aggravated because I'll be like, this is a fail, total fail. And he's enjoying it. And it's good, but it's not what I wanted. It's not what I had in my head.
Do you rate the things he cooks?
He doesn't cook. No, that's not true. He makes a skillet burrito sometimes for breakfast. And I try not to. I think I might comment on like, oh, well, this one tastes a little bit different than the one yesterday, or not really. That sounds really awful, doesn't it? Wow. Okay. Well, but I'm hardest on myself. I'm hardest on myself. All right. So for this, it's really just garlic and oil and lemon juice. I threw in basil and parsley because I have it in the garden. And you let it sit. It can sit for a couple of days, in that marinade. And in fact, the more lemon juice you have in it, the cooking time is next to nothing because you really, once you put the citric acid in there, you don't really need to even cook it. You could eat it like ceviche, right? Because pretty much if you drained the oil away, that's what you've got. You've got ceviche. So we did it in the pouches just because we thought it might work better. I don't know what we were thinking, but Dad did this. This was his, because that's what he, when we would camp, that was his thing. I would make the marinade and he would grill the shrimp. So it was okay. But the best part of having that marinade and then to cook them, we actually cooked them in pouches with butter. Oh my gosh. A little bit of bread in that butter with the garlic and basil and parsley. Holy cow. To me, way better than the shrimp. I could have just forgotten about the shrimp and just eaten. Well, in fact, I did. I did. I finally found a baguette at Safeway. Safeway's not been having any of their rustic breads and stuff. And that's an hour away, but still, it's the closest place I can get anything like that. But I found these new baguettes that are thin, kind of like a focaccia, but a baguette, and they are really good. They remind me of the Costco artisan rolls. Which Costco's 3 hours away, so we don't do that very often either. Anyway, so it was kind of a fail. I would call the shrimp thing a fail, but it's a good process. The whole foil thing, you could put veggies in there or potatoes. Maybe not with shrimp because the shrimp cook so fast, once they get on there. But it was good. It reminded me of when we used to go camping, and that was kind of just a standard thing we took because it was easy, and it was good. It was really good. So.
Well, I just took a note here while you were talking. I'm going to make ceviche grill pouches.
Yeah.
So that'll be my new experiment, is figuring out how exactly that works. But
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't take very long either, really, because you don't really want to cook that stuff too much,
Yeah.
But Yeah, but I tell you, but yeah, and then serve it with a half of a baguette. Holy cow, you don't need anything more than that.
I'm thinking almost like in a bread bowl.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking with the pouches, like you don't get the smoked part. So maybe doing it open somehow. Maybe foil your bread to keep the bread from totally crunching up too much. Open at the top with a ceviche in it so that it gains some of the smoke flavor. Yeah, I think you're onto something. I want to
Join,
hear how
join,
that goes.
join us on our new short show where we name one random ingredient and create a dish out of it. I'll
Okay.
spitball that one too. I'll send you an outline for that. That might be something too.
I like that. Huh.
Always worth experimenting.
Oh, I love it. That's the part of this I love the most. It's just trying this and that, and that's why I don't. When I say I judge my gifts, dishes and say fail, I don't like. Oh my God, I'm a horrible cook. No, it's like that's a fail. I wouldn't do that again. But how would I do it different? And then it gives me an opportunity to get creative with it. So, all right, what's coming up?
So August is going to be Himalayan dinner.
Woo!
Which is something I have never made, and honestly hadn't
Really?
heard of. I was rolling through the family cookbook looking for something different, like that I hadn't done, that I didn't know if you had done or not, just so we could.
You've eaten it 100 times. I made that all the time.
Maybe I've just never heard it called this. I mean, it's essentially,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
You like blow my mind. Like,
Like it sounded very good. It's
okay,
steak
it
and
is.
broth and mushrooms. Like I'm in.
It's really good. Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah,
awesome.
so that'll be next. So, new to me, I guess, not new to you, but it was something that it's ingredients I use frequently,
Uh-huh.
but in a mixture that I had never really done.
It has a very unusual group of um, ingredients, but it's kind of self-serve, and that's why I made it for you guys when you were kids, because some of you liked this and some of you didn't like that, and so that at the table you all could add whatever it was that you wanted into the dish. And obviously there were some things you guys liked more than others, and but it's a kind of a dish that children can eat and adults can eat also, because of the variety of additions. I don't want to give it too much away.
So that'll be
Yeah,
August.
that's from our friends in Colorado. So yeah, absolutely. August.
And then September, maybe a live stream, at least filming in the same place. So we'll have to figure out
Yes.
pieces of that. We might live stream like a grill session and then just film together like a more standard show. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Elsewhere on the channel, we are in the midst of Bachelorette season. I know there's not a whole lot of crossover between the demographic for this show and the demographic for that show, but
Although I have to tell you that Red and Sam are awesome. The Champagne and Thorns show it's great. I love watching those women. They are funny and they are straight, and like they just deliver it. It's really a lot of fun. I enjoy that.
and some of the feedback I've gotten from elsewhere is people that don't watch have watched that and enjoyed it. They do a good job including you in the joke and kind of breaking down for you why these things are so funny.
Yes.
And we film that immediately following watching live, so they come in well lubricated, and so
Well,
check that out
explains.
and watch the feed, because we've got some surprises and some special episodes coming here in early August. So
Great.
we will see you in August for Himalayan dinner, and maybe there's something to this create a dish in 5 minutes quick episode.
I
So
like that.
we'll feel that one out as well.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on Heritage Cooking, where it's always more than the recipe. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.